for some people, I think it's having people help them write blog posts. I know some bloggers or street style editors, since they take so many photos, they have their photos out to be edited. But yeah, I think at some point you do need some kind of assistance to allow you to pursue the end goal.
I agree with you guys. This is something that I actually talk about a lot, living in New York and being exposed to people in entertainment, digital, social media. And I think that just what everybody said, the first question that you should ask yourself is, do you want a lifestyle or do you want a business? And I think it's okay, and in fact I know it's okay just to have a lifestyle. If there's something you love and you want to have a blog, do it. I think everybody should. If you want to have a business, it's a whole nother game, you know? A business makes money when you go to bed. A business you sacrifice so much for, and you stay up till 4 in the morning. And if you have a lifestyle too, you can still go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning staying up, but going out and seeking the fame, seeking a manager, that personally, I don't see the benefit of that. Having strong content is really what it's about, because keeping true to your content and messaging, the rest will follow, and being able to monetize that and getting opportunities that perhaps a manager and agent will get you, they will come if your content is strong and you're collaborating with great people. And you can reach people nowadays through social media, through Twitter and Facebook and all sorts of ways. So you don't have to have a manager, but just like everybody said here, having help is key. Once you've reached a certain point and you might not be able to return all your emails or get back to people and you're not getting any sleep, having help is great, but you don't have to look for an agent or a manager.
But I think that if you're a young blogger, when you're approached with these opportunities, then maybe you don't know what to say to them. And I think that it's good to find someone who has background in that
completely.
to help you with
Completely.
And I don't think that,
that leads
so
to
many
my next
bloggers
question.
I know bloggers who have agents, and they've used it to kind of help supply the content of their blog, and I've enjoyed some of their posts.
And I think that's a really good lead into our next question of, how do you negotiate with brands and media so that you are indeed compensated for your time? I mean, you can't work for free forever. So what is it that you do pro bono as an investment in obtaining more compensation down the road? And what is it, you know what, it's time for you to pay me for my skills and my talent? I think that's the biggest question that people ask themselves. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's start with Hila.
I think it's really important that if you go pro bono for the beginning, is to be very passionate about the brand, because it won't be genuine if you don't. So if I'm passionate about a brand that wishes to work with me, I'm saying the first is pro bono because I want to get to know you, I want to work with you, but I will give them a proposal saying I'm expecting compensation, because it's not very clear to all of them. And I think that these things actually do require some sort of a manager or someone who is an expert, because you don't always know how to do these things, and you have to be very professional starting day one. If they don't understand that you're expecting something, they will just keep on demanding. And if you're doing something, if you choose a job, make sure you love what it's marketing after all, and just make sure that you have a good business plan, make sure you have a good proposal that is written and that is formal and very clear. And that's it, that's how you roll.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, with us, it's a little bit different, just because we did start this as a business, and we started it as something that was a news editorial website. So for us, it's not really about being compensated for time. We work with advertisers. We've worked with Barney's and Kitson, and some great brands, and we develop advertising campaigns for them. So it's different. Again, it's thinking about what it is that you want to do. And in terms of negotiations, I mean, think about what it is that, it's about what you're worth and what you feel your time is worth, and kind of sticking to your guns and not being afraid to say no to things that, you feel aren't, they don't make you comfortable, they don't feel like something that is a good representation of you, and, they're not a good use of your time. So I think that it's really about being excited about the stuff that you're approached to do, and just kind of, going with your gut on the things that make sense.
I think the main thing that you have to watch out for is to make sure you're not sacrificing your content too much. I know that I've had big brands approach me and they want, like 4 blog posts on my site with me styling their spring collection, their winter collection, featuring my favorite accessory. It's like, come on, my readers are going to see that and they're going to know that, I'm being pimped out by you. It's,
Right.
it just doesn't ring true. And at the end, it has to ring true. And you have to make sure that it's not going to take up too much of your time to create content, because as I'm sure if you've ever been to a blogging conference, the thing that you always come away with is focus on your content. So make sure that you're not sacrificing too much of your time, energy, or posts to do the thing that you do on your blog.
I would say that one of the biggest things about kind of operating this fashion PR and marketing space, and then I also manage the social media department for an online advertising sort of internet presence management company. So much of what I end up doing is education, whether that's working with lifestyle consumer fashion brands who kind of want to know what the next great thing is, or which bloggers they should work with, and how to evaluate what's a match and what's not a match, and what should they do. And there seems to be this idea that if you just throw a bunch of bloggers at like a cocktail party and give them sort of free wine, that somehow that constitutes an event. So I'm always trying to take it a little bit and think about, what do you really have of value, and what do they have of value, and where can you make that connection, that collaboration?
Well, again with us, because we're a multi-person news website, and we do deal only with advertising. Everything that is advertised or that somebody's paid for, on the site, we label as advertising or advertorial or dedicated content. And but I think, also, even with advertising, you don't have to, just because somebody approaches you and wants to pay money to put a banner ad on your site or work with you in some capacity, you don't have to say yes if you don't feel it's the right fit for your site. There's lots of times I know that we have felt that our readers wouldn't be able to properly, serve a certain advertiser and their product, and it just wasn't the right fit. So I think it's really thinking about if you're, whatever you're doing, whether it's an advertising or a collaboration or anything, I think it's, making sure that this is something that's really going to benefit your readers at the end of the day. And like everybody here has said, keep your content, quality and true to you and what you guys are doing.
I don't think that anyone blogs in fashion not from fun. And if it's not fun for you to work with a certain brand, don't do it. It's not your day job. It's something that you do from the heart, and you have to feel good about it from all the way from the beginning. And I think that this is something that some bloggers tend to forget because they want to get more brands on their resume, and it's not about that. It's about you and about enjoying what you're doing. Blogging is fun first, and then comes the business.
Well, and I think that is the segue into our last question, and then we're golden here. But how do you separate the business side of your brand from your personal life? I mean, part of the reason people read us and they love us is because they like looking at our lives. They like looking at us as people. But what do you define as private? I mean, what is too much?
I guess I can speak for myself that people come up to me a lot, and my site, for those of you who don't know, it's called P.S. I Made This, and I do DIY projects. So very rarely you see my face. It's really about the content. I show an inspiration board of iconic images, beautiful things that inspire my projects, and you see a project of fashion, accessories, apparel, and from that I do collaborations and tweeting, and so people know P.S. I Made This, and I tweet as P.S. I Made This, and people come up to me and say, oh, you're P.S. I Made This, and I say, yes, but I'm also Erica too. And having that separation is key. It's really key. Sometimes for my brand, I do struggle with it. Are we an I or are we a we? And I think that's something that as you grow and you get larger and you have employees and you work with these brands, are you an I or are you a we? I think that all of us will always be the I. You just can't lose that. And Erica is the person who sees everything, and I have people who work with me. So sometimes it is the we. And I know that the personal access has been the most important. The fact that I can have people directly send me messages through Twitter and say, hey, where do I get this, or how do I make this? The fact that I'm able to personally reach out to them is my favorite thing. And the fact that I have the site to reach out to everybody at once is great. So I think using those both ways is helpful.
I think that, you know, being a personal style blogger, that is one of the hard things about the kind of blog that I have. And I think a way that I've dealt with that, because, you know, it has led to some inner conflicts, and I've wondered, you know, is this really what I want to be doing? But at the end of the day, I thought that, you know, maybe I want people to look at my blog and I want them to come away feeling inspired to, you know, find their own style. It's you know, I want to encourage individuality in fashion, which I'm sure a lot of bloggers out here do too. And I think that's what makes personal style blogs so great, but I don't think that you have to. I've been to a lot of blogging conferences where they're like, it's about the conversation, it's in the comments. But I'm someone who has decided to take my comments away because I felt that there wasn't so much a conversation to be had on the kind of blog that I have, because it is so personal. And, you know, it's a little bit strange to invite people to come and talk about you. So I feel so much happier having my comments turned off. It's made the personal aspect of my blog, it makes me a lot more sane. But I know that a lot of other bloggers have started to take the same route. But I think that the way that I've had my blog be the most fun for me, the way that I found the gratification in my blog, is to explore more of the technological side. The more I learn about my camera, the more fun I have with my blog, because it presents a new challenge every day. So I think that's probably my favorite part of blogging, is the photography.
Well, you know, with us and having multiple contributors, you know, I think that it's still very possible to keep things personal. And I think with fashion is a very personal thing. And for me personally, I keep saying that word, that's what makes it so fun. It's awesome to see different people's style and their perspective on, you know, possibly the same thing. And, you know, I like to encourage our contributors to bring their personality into their writing and into what they're doing and talking about. One of our contributors went to her cousin's wedding in India a couple months back, and that was something I asked her to take pictures there and, you know, talk about it. And I just think, like, that to me, like, that's fashion. You see different cultures and different people and different, you know, backgrounds, and how they you know, celebrate the same thing that we all celebrate, but in different ways. And so I think it's very cool to be able to bring, and that's what I love about the internet and the aspect of a website and a blog, is really being able to bring that personality and bring that voice into the writing, as opposed to, you know, a more rigid format in more traditional, you know, media. So
for me, I think it kind of was the opposite. I started with this idea of PR Couture as a brand, and then over time I found that people were actually just as interested in the girl behind the brand as they were on the brand. And so I started with a Twitter account, one that was personal, one that was PR Couture, and the one that was on PR Couture was just like growing crazy. And, you know, the other one, people were like, hey, how's it going? And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll spend some more time over there. That led to a couple of other decisions to put my face with my Twitter accounts, like news, big, scary. And I switched my bio from third person to first person. But every time I did that, it was like a recommitment to the decision that I had made to be this person who owns this space, and to take ownership of what I've created, and to really understand that the real value comes from being both vulnerable and honest, and also you know, of value and of service to others. And so, you know, you get everything from, you know, this silly Boyz II Men lyrics, or like you know, the fact that I'm watching a Gem and the Holograms cartoon, and then you also get, you know, this is like my thought on you know, this new emerging you know, technology, or this is how you're thinking about augmented reality in the office, or, you know, all these different things. And it's so much more gratifying to be able to be both, and to have success in being both.
Amazing. Everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this. And we'll be back at 3:30 with some of our younger Teen Vogue style bloggers for the latest trends coming down the runway for AW 2011. See everyone then. Bye.